Hey folks, welcome back to another video in my new Cheap and Cheerful series. Covering this cube was suggested by, hope I'm pronouncing this right, Jacus Joe in the comment section. And this is the Qiyi gear cube, released a few months ago, along with several cousins, including a gear cylinder, a gear ball, and a gear tetrahedron. I think that's all then. But this is a really nice little puzzle. Definitely falls into the cheap category. By the way, for the Cheap and Cheerful series, I'm setting a sort of arbitrary limit of £10 approximately or less as being cheap and cheerful. So about the price of a nice magnetic budget 3x3 or less. And this one falls into that category. I think it cost me $7.99 from Cubes UK, which is a very decent price. You can see on the top here, there's the Qiyi logo, but also the logo of the designer. This is from Raphael Puzzles. If you're familiar with the videos of Super Antonio Vivaldi, he's covered a few times the amazing 3D printed designs produced by Raphael. He's done some amazingly creative stuff over the years. I've actually got myself on the waiting list for the last batch of 2020, I believe. So with any luck, I'll have one of his amazing creations with me at the end of the year. And I do mean one, because they are expensive, and I'm not, unfortunately, in a situation where I can buy several at the same time. But in any case, I'm looking forward to that. This puzzle used to be called the Blooming Gears, I think, when it was a 3D printed model, and Qiyi smartly snapped up the rights to it and expanded it to the other shapes in the range, such as the barrel and the ball and so on. And they made a really, really nice, high-quality puzzle. So if you look at it initially, it looks like a black with stickers, but it's much better than that. Actually, it's all tiles. So these tiles are made of a nice matte plastic. They stand out really beautifully against the black body of the puzzle. The colors, as usual with Qiyi, are really vibrant and easy to recognize. And most importantly, the turning of the puzzle is really, really nice. I never have problems with the gears catching, particularly. They do need to be quite aligned when you turn on a different axis after you've completed a turn somewhere else. But, you know, given the mechanism, that's totally understandable. I think if you were into speed-solving gear cubes, you could definitely do it with this one. So as with most gear cubes, this is, I think, very much inspired by, or even just a kind of modification of the original gear cube by Oscar van Deventer. It's got a different visual design, and the mechanism works nicely. But that means it's not a particularly difficult puzzle to solve. It does have some interesting quirks to get your head around, mainly triggered by the gearing mechanism. So if you notice, I can't turn this cube 90 degrees and then make a subsequent turn. Every turn needs to be at least 180 degrees. So that's one aspect of it. And because the gearing mechanism kind of slows down everything to do with the puzzle, so to get things back to the start, you have to turn it quite a few times, actually. We're still not there yet. There we go. I think it's effectively like an R12 or something that gets you back to the start. So that's a little bit weird to get your head around. But ultimately, the pieces kind of stay together. So it doesn't get super scrambled. I know that there is something called the Gear Cube Extreme, which is kind of like a mix-up gear cube. So I think in that one, you can make 90-degree turns and things get more scrambled. And that one is known to be quite difficult. There's also a 5x5 gear cube, which I've heard is not particularly well produced in terms of the quality of the puzzle, but it's supposed to be quite a challenge. So I've got my eye out for that one, maybe someday in the future. But yeah, I think this is a great introductory puzzle. It's definitely cool to show off to people who are not super familiar with twisty puzzles. It just looks really impressive and fun when it's turning. It's great to play with, even if you don't care about solving it. And if somebody does, get into it and want to solve it, it's a fun little one to crack. It's not going to be super frustrating for newbies. So I think it's really good as a sort of a gateway puzzle, if you like. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for small kids, just because the edges of these edge pieces are actually reasonably pointy. So I suspect you might have some kids getting into trouble with that. But, above a certain age, I think it'd be absolutely fine. Yeah, so if you've got $7.99 or so to spare, or the equivalent in your local currency, I definitely recommend picking this up. I'm actually going to probably pick up one of the others in the series, perhaps the Gear Tetrahedron, because it solves very differently from this and looks really weird and cool. And also the Gear Barrel, because I've learned from the YJ Star Barrel that barrels are cool. So I'll probably get that. Now, if you get these from the source in China, they're even cheaper. I think they're about $2.80 a piece from Z-Cube. So that's an affordable way to go if you want to buy the whole series. So yeah, highly recommended. Definitely in the cheap and cheerful category, and a good one to pick up for your collection. Now, before I leave you, I'll just do a quick little scramble here, and hopefully I won't screw it up too much. We shall see. Sometimes this cube surprises me. I've solved it many times, but, you know, still I get into situations where it just, I don't know, something odd happens, and I can't quite immediately figure out what to do. I'll give it one more go there. There we go. Turn this way, maybe a bit this way. Okay, so the first step in the solve is to bring together your yellow corner pieces. So first we need to find them. They're just down here, which is convenient. And I think it'll just be a matter of doing that, yes. And now the next step is to just rotate these yellow layers until you get these edge pieces settled and flat. And from there, there's some algorithms you can use to solve them. So you see here, for example, the yellow is facing upwards, but the pieces are in the wrong position. So we'll fix that in a minute. So we just rotate this thing, rotate it, there we go. Don't worry about the centers yet. So what have we got? So we've got on both directions, we have the pieces with yellow on the top, but they are flipped. So the red needs to go there, the orange needs to go there. So the way we can cope with that is by doing R2, which is effectively R4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then U. 1, 2, and then R prime 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there you go. So we flip those in place. Well, no, we flipped them on the opposite sides of the puzzle. And now we do the same over here. So we can go R2, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then U, which is 1, 2. And then R4 the other way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we've solved all the edges and corners on the yellow face. Okay, so now we need to sort the centers out. And the way, it's very easy to do that. There's another little algorithm that'll get you through. So just R, 2 turns, and then a U4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then R prime, which is of course R2 prime. And actually we're done. We didn't even have to do any more. So you can see it's a quick little solve. You can solve it fairly intuitively, but you know, I thought I'd just show you a couple of algorithmic possibilities as well. Yeah, it's a great little puzzle, so highly recommended. That is the Qiyi Gear Cube, designed by Raphael Puzzles, and available at all your friendly local cubing vendors. So enjoy, and in the meantime, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.